There was some, If you know the path to attain Nibbana, you can practice. There you have a choice. You can practice or not. Actually, you all are very lucky. You are very lucky because you have a path and you have that choice. Perhaps you choose to practice, perhaps not. But you have a choice. Most people don't have that choice because they don't have that path. They just live. That's the only thing they can do. They live. To live, they need many things, and they try to achieve those things and live. Even though they know that they will die tomorrow, perhaps in the evening, they will do the same thing, like animals. Because they don't have a choice. Only the choice they have is doing something to come out of vexation. Because they always feel vexation. They are vexed and they always try to come out of vexation. That's the only thing they can do. Therefore, until their last breath, they try to live by doing those things. But you are also a human being, and you are very lucky because you have the path to stop the process of vexation. Because you came to know about it. Thanks to the Buddha. And thanks to your merit, you met the Buddha's teaching. You met the truth. You heard it. Now you have a choice to understand. You have enough merit to hear it, to listen to it. Others don't have that. We try to distribute the Dhamma to them, but it's really difficult. It's really difficult because they don't have enough merits. That's the conclusion we always came. That's the conclusion we always came for, because they don't have enough merits. We don't have any other explanations. We always try to give the Dhamma. We try to teach them. We try to show them. But they still want to achieve something. Perhaps you. Don't worry. They will keep giving you the Dhamma. They will keep doing this until you realize this and understand this. But however, you should know, you have to understand this today, if not tomorrow. You have to do that. You have to do that because this is the salvation. This is the only salvation a man can achieve. Therefore, if you want, you can delay. Perhaps you can do it tomorrow. Perhaps you can postpone it to tomorrow and start tomorrow. But still, you have to do the same thing. You have to practice the same path. And before that, you can waste your time and your life. And perhaps you can earn many demerits by delaying this. Because when you delay this, anyway your mind is vexed and your mind wants to come out of vexation. The easiest path to come out of vexation is committing demerits, committing sins. Because it's so easy to look after a person or killing person. What is easier? You know the answer. It takes a whole village to raise a child. It doesn't say that it takes a whole village to kill a child. One moment is enough. Therefore, committing sins is very easy. Therefore, when you delay your path, you will commit more sins. Eventually, it will happen. If something happened to your daughter, your son, you can't tolerate, and definitely you will do something. At that time, I don't think you will think about any civilized things, any ethics. I don't think you will think about that when you are vexed. Therefore, if you delay this, actually this will be delayed. That's why we always ask you to practice, and we always tell you the sooner the better. Therefore, please, ladies and gentlemen, I think you have heard what's going on with the world and in the world, and that's how it is. You can't blame a person. Don't try to point out a person in this case. Perhaps you may have heard that there will be a war. Perhaps. I think we have told you these things, and this is just a beginning. You will face a huge disaster, but don't worry. Don't worry. Just do what you do. Is that the answer? It doesn't matter. I will do my PhD. Even though I will die tomorrow, I have to complete my PhD. Do you really think? I think that answer is not for you, but for others, of course. But for you, that's not the answer. If you have come across the teaching of the Buddha, then this shouldn't be the answer. You should understand that you have a salvation, and you have seen the salvation, and you know that you can achieve it. We have proven it that you can understand this and you can achieve your salvation. Then why do you delay? Tomorrow you will die, perhaps, when you travel. You will die. And if you are waiting for your salvation, and if you are waiting for starting your salvation, now, waiting for starting your salvation, what will happen? Then you won't get anything. You won't get anything, and you will lose this opportunity. Actually, you will miss the boat. Perhaps forever. Before that, I want you to understand that you got this opportunity. You are so fortunate, and you got this opportunity. You can understand the Dhamma, and you got the Dhamma, and you can see. You can see the Dhamma. Because we are not going to force you. We are not giving this forcefully. We explain to you. Because we have understood this, then we try to explain to you the Dhamma. Then if you think that this is the truth, regardless of any religion, I think you should follow it. Because we are not talking about any religion. I don't have any religion. I don't follow any religion. I don't believe in religions. I believe in philosophies. I believe in sacred people. Because sacred people bear sacred wisdom. A religion can't bear that. Therefore, we never follow a religion. This is the truth we are talking about. The truth. There's only one. But you need to realize that. Because we can give you some knowledge, and through that knowledge you need to realize this. When you realize that, I don't think you can delay this anymore. Then tomorrow something will happen to you. Tonight something will happen to you. After that, your journey will end. That's it. Nobody will talk about you. That's why always I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the love I have. Because I can give you this. I can tell you. I can advise you. But the ball is in your court all the time. You have to do this. We will talk about the truth, and we will discuss many things. If you tell me to explain, the truth through this, I'll do that. Bring anything. I'll do that. Because this is nature. Everything belongs to nature. Everything is nature. And nature is everything. Therefore, when you understand the Dhamma, you should be able to apply the Dhamma to anything and understand the Dhamma through anything. Therefore, the Dhamma is there and Kalyana Mitta is there. Noble friends are there. And are you ready? Are you there for you, for yourself? That's the question you should ask from you. Try to learn from the world. Don't try to be the world. When you see the world, you should understand that that's not a person. That's nature. Perhaps when you see these things, you think that a person is doing something. Because of this person, this occurs. No, that's not the truth. When you think that, then you will commit more sins. And you will create the war. When a war exists, that war is created by you. You will be punished for that. We can't just say that, no. We were here, we didn't tell anything. No, you told. You ignited the world. When you argue with your spouse, you released all those poisonous rays, I would say, to the world. In the future, you will face many plagues. It is. If you can't control your mind will spoil the world. Because your mind is the creator. It creates the world. Your mind is everything. When you see this is a creation of the mind. I'm not saying that the color that is created in your mind, I'm talking about this energy. We have talked about this. This is just a lump of energy. A process of energy that occurs all the time. And this is here because of your mind. You have created this. You mean the mind has created this. This is the truth. Therefore, if the mind is not tamed, what will happen? Then it will destroy the world. Therefore, we all created the world, and we all protect the world, and we all destroy the world. Therefore, we are the Timurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. That is the world. There's a creation. If you want, you can totally stop that creation. Maintenance, protection. You can stop totally. And destruction. If you want, you can stop these things. by not creating the world. The world that is created in your mind. The world that is created in your mind. That's the base. That's why, if I ask about yourself, you will tell. If I ask who you are, you will answer it. We will listen. We will remember, but we won't know. Who are you? You can tell that I am I. That's how you feel. You can say that. You use, instead of I, you use a name. I'm John. That's a name. But you wanted to say that I'm myself. I'm I. But we can't feel yourself. Can we? Can you feel myself? Then how do you know about my existence? How do you know that I am who I am? You don't know. Only I know that. Only I know that because this mind is the creator of this world. In that world, I live. To live, I had to create the world. Therefore, all the time I create the world and I live in there. That is the ego. The ego has to create the world. Therefore, now you can see that, now you can see a world here. In your world, I live. But that's not I. In your world, I am not I. Can we switch, please? In your world, can't I be I? And you be Guru Handra, Guru Ter? No, you can't. In your world, you are the king. You are the creator. You are I. Therefore, now you want to live. The ego wants to live. The ego wants to live, therefore, the ego has to create the world. Now you can see, you can see a world here. In that world, we all are there. And in that world, this Dhamma hall exists. This pen exists in that world. You all have an individual world. Try to understand that. In that world you live, and you don't want to destroy that world. You don't want to understand about that world. When you understand about that world, you will understand about yourself, and yourself will be deleted, destroyed, vanished. And the ego doesn't want that. The ego doesn't want to commit suicide. The ego wants to live. The ego wants to live, and the ego wants to rule the world because of the inferiority complex that it is suffering from. Therefore, the ego wants to make something big. When the ego feels the world, that world must be bigger. In that world, you should be someone. Therefore, in this world, we are also should be there. We should be there in your world. Otherwise, you can't be the king. Because if you want to be the king, you had to be your subject, people. Therefore, now you can see in your world, we all are here. And if you want to be the king, then you can. If you want to be a guru, you can. Then you can think that I'm the guru for all these people. I'm the guru. Then if I can increase the number, then I'll be Mahaguru. This is how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you want to attain Nibbana, you will do the same thing if you don't understand the Dhamma. Perhaps you have seen many people. They wanted to attain Nibbana, or they wanted to achieve their salvation, and they became priests after that. They left everything and became clergy, but finally they try to rule that world. If the ego exists, the ego will find a way to rule the world. Perhaps you have seen when you are in a relationship, someone wants to rule. In your family, perhaps, your spouse wants to rule. Perhaps you didn't like. Therefore, you fought. Perhaps tonight, you'll do the same thing. Because you don't want to be the second, you want to be the first. Because you are the ego. If you are the ego, you have to be the first and you should rule the world. Because that's your world that you rule. If this is your world, then you have to rule it. That's why you always try to put your name on the top. And you try to keep it. You need to be treated like a king, like a queen. And that's the only thing you know, the king and the queen. If you have another name, another title, then you need to achieve that. That's how the ego works. It needs to move higher and higher. Think about your life, then you will realize this. And you fight for this. You fight for titles. And when you come to the society, you are afraid of that. You're afraid of that because you need a title, you need a good name, and you're afraid of someone ruining your name. Perhaps you try to protect your family because of that. Perhaps you told your children to protect your family, protect your name. You have created a good name, and you can't let your children destroy it because you can't tolerate that. There are some parents, they can't tolerate that, therefore they try to kill their children. To protect their name. Just to protect their name. And some children try to kill their parents to protect their name or to achieve their desires. And some children hate their parents. This happens due to ignorance. We know the answer, ladies and gentlemen. This happens due to ignorance. If someone wants a war, the reason is ignorance. If someone want to destroy their parents? The answer is the ignorance. Ignorance is the problem. Because of ignorance, you suffer. Because of ignorance, the ego exists. Because of ignorance, you want to acquire many things and you want to rule the world because of ignorance. Because of ignorance, you have a world that you always maintain, that you always create, maintain, and destroy. Ignorance creates it. Ignorance creates wantings. Because of those wantings, you are vexed. And you think that you got this life to achieve those wantings, those desires. But you don't know that. Those desires came to your mind because of ignorance. But I want you to understand these things, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a desire, you should understand that it happens due to ignorance. That's not a reality. But you always think that your existence is real. When we talk about your existence, perhaps you think that existence? Why existence? This is I. But the Buddha said that that is a false sense of existence. You feel this. You perceive this. It happens due to ignorance. This is not real. You feel that you are a mother. This is not real. You feel. It's only a thought. Can you imagine that? Your motherhood? Don't blame me, please. Your motherhood is only a thought. When you remember that you are a mother. When that thought is not in your mind, are you a mother? No. When you go to a party and start dancing, are you a mother? Can you remember at least you are a mother? No. At that time, you are not a mother, you are a dancer. You dance. A mother can't dance, a dancer can dance. When you remember, you are a mother. Try to understand that. Now tell me, then we will call you mother when you remember that. Tell us. Yes, I can remember now. Okay, hello mother. This is how it is. When you remember that you are a mother, you will cry. You will love your children. When you work, will you love children? No. When you work and when you are so busy, you can't even remember your children. That means you are not a mother at that time, you are a worker. You work for someone. Then you don't cry for your children, you will cry for your workload. Now you can see, you can be someone when you can remember. But all the time you can be yourself. But whatever the titles you got, motherhood, fatherhood, and all these hoods, all the titles you got, not Robin Hood, but all the titles you got should be remembered. Then you will cry for that. You will try to protect it, and you will do something regarding that. I want you to realize your life, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not here to insult you. I'm here to let you realize your life. Because if you live in this illusional world, you will be punished for that. Why do you really think that you are a father? Why do you really think that you are a mother? Why do you think that you have your family to protect you? In which case, they can protect you. You don't have yourself to protect. Even you don't have yourself to protect. Look, we ask you to practice the Dhamma, and perhaps you delay. That means, actually, you even don't have yourself to protect yourself. You are not ready to do that. Then how your family will protect you? Because of ignorance, you think that you are a family. Because of ignorance, you think that you have a family. If you have a family, they should be together. Die and see how many of them will die with you, and how many of them will be born with you. No one. You will die alone, and you will be born alone. You will live alone. In your world, they live, and in their world, you live. That's why you have separate titles. When you are in your sons or your children's world, you are the mother. When you are in your husband's world, you are the wife. I don't think your husband can see you as his mother. That's his world. But how come we all live in one world then? Try to understand this. In your husband's world, you are the wife. In your son's world, you are the mother. In this world, what is that? In this world? Actually, who are you in this world? Do you have something common, a common name or common title? Because this is the common world we are talking about. We don't have one. That means actually we don't have a common world to live. Whatever you see, that is created in your mind. But I'm not saying that everything is in your mind. This exists. This is a lump of energy, and it exists. According to the theory of cause and effect. Therefore, it doesn't have a past and the future and the present. It's only an event. I think we have been talking about this for a few weeks now. Apart from that, this color, this sound, these things are created in your mind. That is the world you can see. That's why I told you, in your world I live. But you don't feel your eye is here. Your eye means this eye. Your eye is here. Your eye is there. Here, perhaps if you are the king, I'm one of your subjects. If you come here, you will see your world. Now I can see your world. I can see the person behind you. Therefore, I know that there is a person behind you, but you don't know that. Because that person is not in your world. Actually, you never imagined this, ladies and gentlemen. Apart from what you see. apart from what you perceive. There isn't a world for you. I can say, oh, this is very nice. Now, can I see this? Is it in my world? No, but in my memory, I can think that it is also in my world. I'm sitting on the Dhamma chair, would say that. And it is there. But that is not in my world. From my memory, I can use it. I can think that it exists, but actually, it is not there in my world. In my world, there are a lot of people. That's my world. What about the other whole? When I came from there, I saw there were some people. If you want, I can think that they are also sitting over there and discussing the Dhamma. I can think. What about America? Does it exist? Perhaps we don't know. If we consider about the current situation. Does it exist? We can think about. We can think about it. We can take it from our memory. We know, we have heard about America. And through our thoughts, we can take America into our world. And you can talk about Mars, you can talk about the sun, the moon. When you talk about the sun, actually you talk about what you have learned, whether it's the truth or not. You always know what you have learned, what you have been taught. That means you take these things from your memory. And by using your memory, you can create a big world. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you always create your world. In that world, there are many items. There are many items. This is one of them. What is this? A pen. How do you know? How do you know? Only one thing. There is only one thing that can name this. What is that? Ignorance. Only ignorance knows that this is a pen. Other than that, no one can understand it. I will explain to you this. This is very deep, and if you can understand that and apply it, again, understand and apply. Otherwise, wisdom will remain here. And knowledge will be with you. When you are knowledgeable, you can have a big, gigantic ego and say that I know the Dhamma. That's it. Let's talk about the truth about this pen. When you see this, the color blue is created in your mind. That's the only thing you can see. You can't see plastic, which means you can't see atoms, which means you can't see energy. Actually, the pen is energy. But you can't see energy, you only see some colors. That's your mind. I think last week we were talking about this. You only see your mind. You can't see this object. The color blue is your mind actually. Your mind has 5 steps. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. 5 steps. This is the first one, Rupa. Rupa means, we can say form, but we need to understand that. Otherwise, it's just a name. Color, sound, taste, touch, and smell, and thought. Rupa. This should be formed first. That means when a color is created, that means if the first step of the mind is created, that's the mind. It belongs to the mind. This is the mind. The whole process is the mind. That means this is also the mind. Therefore, if you can't see blue color in the pen, if the blue color is created in your mind, all the colors in the world, tell me. That's the mind. When you talk about red color, that's the mind. Green color, that's the mind. But if you talk about energy, yeah, that is 4 basic elements. That is the pen. That is energy. But you can't see this, you can't hear this. Whatever you perceive, that is your mind. Therefore, you always perceive your mind. When the first step happens, the process of the mind starts. And it will come to perception. And the perception occurs. Then an experience is experienced. Don't put by. Don't use by after that. An experience is experienced. A color is experienced. That is called perception. Now in this case, you can say, when the mind is created, your world is created. Without all these things, all these senses, what is this? Just a lump of energy. Or a process of energy. Yeah? Are you agree with me? Yeah? Without these senses, because the color blue is not here. This sound is not here. I can't lick this. Don't let me. And this taste is not there. This touch is not there. This smell is not there. And thoughts are not here anyway. That means, apart from these senses, this is only a process of energy. Agree? Right. Let's talk about this then. Apart from these things, this is a process of energy. Okay. Take this. Let's take this. Let's take this. Can I lift this also? The table. What is it? Let's talk about this then. Then, what is this? You can't use these things because these things are not here. These things don't belong here. What is this? A process of energy. What is this? A process of energy. Then, what's the difference? Then why do you like this more than this? I have the answer. If I tell that, it hurts. I have the answer. What is the answer? Because you are mad. Again, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ego. The ego is mad. Then tell me, you told me that these two are the same. Yeah? Okay, if these two are the same, again, what is this? A process of energy. What is this? A process of energy. But this is called a pen and this is called a cube or paperweight, whatever. Who knows it? Just a minute before, just a minute ago, I told you that this is only a process of energy. Actually, you also knew that because we have discussed it before. This is only a process of energy. And this is also a process of energy. If these two are the same thing, and it doesn't have any difference, and it doesn't have any uniqueness, because both of them are a process of energy. But this is called a pen. Who knows that? When you use wisdom, you saw that this is only a process of energy and this is also the same. Therefore, these two don't have any difference and they don't have any uniquenesses. But when you use ignorance, you see a pen and fixed one and special one. Even though these two are, both of them are the same and they are pens, but you see this is red and this is black. And if I use two red pens, then you will say this is that pen and this is this pen. Because when you see this, you will see a different, unique pen. You will see, which means you will perceive. Therefore, these two pens are different for the ignorant mind. Otherwise, these two are the same. When you use wisdom, these two are the same. When you use ignorance, these two are different and unique and special. What do you want to use? You can choose. That's what I told you. In the beginning, at the beginning I told you that you have a choice. But others don't have. They don't have a choice. They always use ignorance because they don't know about wisdom. They are wise in other ways, but not in nature. They don't have wisdom of nature. Therefore, they can't use that. But you have. Then if you want, you can use these two, as I explained to you. Otherwise, you can use this as how other people use, like two different pens. And therefore, these objects are completely different because of their colors. Can you imagine that? There are two girls. One is so beautiful, another one is not, because of their colors. Can you imagine that? People believe in this. I proved it before, if you can remember. Nobody wants to apply any facial cream or anything to make their skin darker. Everybody wants to be fair. Why? Have you seen any cream, any type of cream? No. If you want, I can create one with charcoal. Grind some charcoal and put some oil or something, then you can apply it here. Thieves sometimes use it. But nobody wants. That means everybody believes that fair skin is beautiful. Everybody means, I would say, most of them. Most people, I would say. Most people believe that fair skin is beautiful. But I don't agree with that. Therefore, please don't angry with me. Right? I don't agree with that. Because that's a color. That color doesn't belong to the man. That's your mind. You look at me and say that, oh, you are so dark. Then I would say that, no, your mind is so dark, I am full of energy. This is just full of energy, which is invisible. You can't see this, you can't hear this. This is nature. And these colors are created in your mind. Therefore, when you see the color black, then, or brown, or white, that's the first step of the mind. That color is created. If you can understand this truth, you won't go for those colors. Otherwise, you always go for these colors. And when you think about your body, especially when it comes to the ego, because it wants to be the top. It wants to go to the top. Therefore, it always wants to have best things. The best things in the world. Therefore, when you get a view that the fair skin is the best, then you always want to achieve that. Then if you can't, then you will apply makeup. And you will see your face in the mirror and be happy. Can you imagine that? And you know that you have applied makeup, all these things. You just like when you see that is on someone else's face, that's totally fine. But you have applied it, and just before you applied it, you saw your own face. And after that you applied, then you think that you are so beautiful. How poor the mind is. Somehow it wants to come out of vexation, listen. Somehow. It's okay for you to cheat someone else's, but to cheat yourself. But it happens. It happens because the mind is desperate. It wants to be the best. Because of that, you suffer. Because you see differences in people and objects. If you use wisdom, then these 3 pens are the same. Of course, colors are different, but colors are not here. That is created in the mind. Therefore, if you take this is only a process of energy, and this is only a process of energy. When you understand that, you will see the entire world is the same. You can't find any uniqueness in any object. But now you may have a question in your mind. Can we use this to write then? If these two are the same, then can we use this to write? No. You had to use this to write. Then you may say, that's why we like this. I agree. I agree. You like this because you like this than this because you have a wanting. When you have a wanting, your mind chooses things. I give you some time to think. When you have a wanting, you are vexed. The mind is vexed. Just think about this. When you need a help and someone helps you, how do you feel about that person? Even though he is a terrorist. But you don't, perhaps you know that he is a terrorist, then you would say that even though he is a terrorist, he helped me. He has good qualities. Won't you say that? Because you like him now. Because he was used. Because you were vexed. When you were vexed, and if something is used, automatically some kind of liking is created in your mind. Some kind of favoration is created in your mind. That's why when you have 2 pens, you will choose these 2 with your wanting. You choose your children with your wantings. When you want to love them, you you take them. When you want to eat, will you take them and put on your plate? No, you will choose. Now you want food more than your children. That's why when you eat chicken or something, you say, I love chicken. Then why don't you say, I love my children, and eat? You never say that. I love chicken and I love whatever. I love rice and curry, whatever. You say that. I love that curry. Then why don't you say that I love my children all the time? You don't say. You love your children, again, when you are vexed. I'm sorry to say these things, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the mind. The mind doesn't have children, ladies and gentlemen. But you always believe that you have children. But you are a mind. That's a process of energy. It doesn't have any feelings. But the ego has those feelings. You say that I was so emotional. I have emotions. You will have emotions. You will have emotions. But the mind? It's an event. That's it. It's an event. Therefore, you can't make your mind cry. The ego cries. That's why the Buddha never cried after he became the Buddha. After he became the Buddha, there's only a mind. That's only a mind. Therefore, the mind is a process of energy, then the mind can't cry. Once you become an arahant, then you won't cry. You won't cry means, actually, the mind won't cry. Right now also, the mind won't cry. But you will cry. The ego will cry. The mind is suffering because of the ego. The mind doesn't want to cry. The mind is emotional because of the ego. Think about it. You don't have to cry in your life. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, the ego always want to cry and smile because it needs that drama. Think about your life. It's only a drama. It's only a drama because you are the drama queen. And you always create a drama in your family. Think about that. And you want to fight. And you want to love. If it is only love, no. You don't like that. You need fight as well. You need all these things because you need all these emotions. That's the ego. The ego needs emotions. The ego needs the emotions, and now you have to supply all the materials. You always supply all the materials, and you maintain all these things. And actually, you have to create. You means here I'm talking about the mind. The mind has to create the stage, and the ego will do the drama. It will play the drama. Because of ignorance. Again. Please understand these things, ladies and gentlemen. This is about your life. Think about your past that is not your past, but at least think about your past that is in your memory. The drama you have played. Not you have played, you have been playing the drama. Perhaps when you come here, you play the drama again. When you are in the Sila Sravika program, perhaps automatically it happens, and you play the drama. Anagarika program, monks program, Anagarikas program. Yeah, can be anything. Then if I think that I am Guru Thera, and this is my temple, and this is my people. Again what? That's the drama. Two weeks ago, one of our monks asked from me that, Guru Thero, how do you live like a normal monk? Because you are the Guru Thero in this monastery, and you are very popular. And you always be with us, you always work with us. When we work, you are there. No matter what work you do it. Why? How? Then I said that, in your world, I am your Guru Hadra. In your world, I am your Guru Thera. But in my world, I am not a Guru Thera. Actually, I told him that I am nature. Therefore, what nature wants, it occurs. Therefore, I don't believe that I am Guru Thero. But you can tell. You can name and you can use that name. But if I think that, yes, they say, I'm Guru Thero, then what is the point of the Dhamma? And the other thing is, if I know that merits are needed to attain Nibbana, what should I do? I should do the merits. Therefore, I always do the merits. I always earn merits. Regardless of the work, whatever the work we have to do. If it is meritorious, I do. Perhaps I won't do in front of you, because you can't tolerate it. When I work somewhere, and perhaps you can't tolerate it. Otherwise, I do. Because I am also a normal monk. In that case, you can tomorrow you will say that I am the king. Then, do I have to earn merits or not? But I am the king now. Then one day you will tell me that you are the Buddha, okay? Then you tell me that I am the Buddha. But if I know that I am a normal monk, then what should I do? I should earn merits and I should practice the path. Someone can think that I am an arahant. If I know that I am not, then I should practice the path. That's how it is. I don't like titles. In that case, I'm not talking about titles. Those titles, the ego title I'm talking about, I don't like that. If you tell me that you are a human being, I don't like it. Because I don't want to be. I want to be nobody. Which means I want to understand. I want to understand the truth. And I want to be nature. If I feel that I'm nature, I'm okay. Just imagine this. Then if you run a title, just imagine that, like, apart from the ego, if you had to run a life with a title, and it is useless because others call you that. Others use it. That's not you. They are conventional. Here, in this audience, we can choose a queen. Then we will name one. Do you want? Okay, then take here. Huh? Do you want? Okay, take. Then finally, conventionally, you are the queen. What happened now? What happened? Nothing. But everyone calls you the queen. What happened? What happened? Nothing. Then, if you are the queen, or if you are the queen of England, or if you are the queen of bees, if you had to practice the path, you had to practice, because those things are names, conventional names, conventional titles. The ego shows you that you are a human being. That is also a conventional title. You are the pure mind. You are the pure mind, ladies and gentlemen. You are not a human being. Don't behave like a human being. Behave like the mind. When causes are there, an effect manifests. It doesn't have any expectation. Can you imagine this life, ladies and gentlemen? A life without expectation. A life without probability. Will I drop this? There is a probability. There is a probability in your mind. That's called future. The probability which is created in your mind is called future, in the future. Now you can see there are two probabilities. Will I drop this or not? Right now the mind is created. When the mind manifests, then it has two options. One is, I will drop it, or I won't. But when it comes to nature, it doesn't have two choices. It doesn't have any probability. It doesn't have any probability. Because nature acts according to the theory of cause and effect. When I drop this, you would say, and I told you. You would say that. You would say that you told that. You have told it, but that was your probability. You had two options. But nature, I can't say nature had. Let me use has. But it is also wrong. Because when I use has, it is present tense. You may think that nature is the present. For the time being, we can take it. Therefore, nature didn't have any plan. In your mind, you had two plans. Because you can create probabilities. Because you can create possibilities. Because you can use your memory. By using your memory, you can create few paths. From this point, there are a few paths. But what will happen? Only one. You have created all these things. You have created all these things by using your memory. But only one thing happens. I can't say only one thing will happen. One thing happens. Will you die tomorrow? Will you die tomorrow? Perhaps your doctor said that. Your doctor said that you will die tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the evening. Will you die? That happens in the doctor's mind. After that, it happens in your mind, but still, it's a probability. When it has a probability, that's not nature. Because the probability of nature is 1. One means 100%. That means, actually, it isn't. But the problem is probability. Probability is between this. It can be 1 and it can be 0. Therefore, it has a probability, but it is always 1. Therefore, if your doctor says, you will die tomorrow at 3 o'clock, that's in his mind. When you came to know about that, that's in your mind. At 3 o'clock, that happens in nature. At 3 o'clock, if causes come together, an effect manifests. That happens not at 3 o'clock. When that incident occurs, this incident will, let's not use will. When this incident occurs, that incident, which means the clock incident, that clock incident occurs as well. Then we can say that it happened at 3 o'clock. That clock incident happens due to its causes. And your death incident happens. Is that okay for me to talk about your death? Because you are here to live forever. Some people don't like to talk about their death because they think that it's negative. But committing sins is full of positive. Ignorance. Your death incident occurs due to its causes, not at 3 o'clock. There is no such thing called 3 o'clock, because that's also an incident. then when do you die? There's a simple answer for that if you can understand the Dhamma. When do you die? Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to anyone, because they will predict. Because the mind can predict. Because the mind can use its memory. Therefore, it can create many paths. How will you die? Think about that. How will you die? No, I can prove this. That's why I told you. Think about how will you die? Perhaps a heart attack, food poisoning, car accident, so on. But there are many ways, 1,000 ways to die. But it will happen. How many ways? Only one way. In that case, you can see the mind can create many paths, but only one thing occurs. That's where you die. Therefore, don't use time. Think about the causes. When the causes are there, an effect manifests. That's why the Buddha said, time is an illusion and it is not applicable. I'll give you another example. A person promises you to give 1,000 rupees. And you know that because you heard it. He promised you. Right. And he told you that he will give you that 1,000 rupees, perhaps next week. Then he will give you 1,000 rupees next week. Now you know and he knows. And next week, one day next week will come. When next week comes, when that next week comes, he won't give you. And you will be angry with him. Why? Because he promised. And you were waiting for that. He promised. And you had that promise in your mind as well. But promises are not nature. Those are only mental creations. In nature, that didn't happen. Because he said that, I will give you 1,000 rupees next week. Promises. Promises can occur in your mind, not in nature. When causes are there, an effect manifests. If you can understand this, you won't be angry with anyone. Otherwise, you will fight. You promised me and you didn't give me, you are a cheater and all these things. No, he is not a cheater. He wanted to give you and you wanted to take it. But nature wasn't ready. Okay, if you can't understand this, let's talk about Superman. Let's talk about Superman. A man who can fly. Is that nature? But still we can talk about it. Why don't you talk about Super Flash? And he eats only a burger. And he runs 5,000 kilometers within a second. Let's talk about that. Is that nature? No, but still we can talk about it, because that's in our imaginations. Therefore, all the promises are in your imaginations. You promise with your heart, I know. That's why you can promise to the sasana as well. I will offer this. You can promise, that's fine. But if we take it as a reality, oh, the Buddha will, I don't know. We never take it as a reality. You can promise, but we never take it as a reality. Because it's not a reality, it is in your mind, it is in your imagination. When we come to know about that, that's in our imagination. And we both have imaginations. In our imaginary world, of course, you will give us and we will receive it. But nature doesn't have those paths. Nature has only one path. What is that? When causes are there and effect manifest. Therefore, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you couldn't fulfill your dreams or your promises, you wouldn't have to worry. You promised. That was in your imaginations. You really wanted that. You wanted it. But nature wasn't ready. Sometimes you want to attain Nibbana. Right now. You came here to attain Nibbana. Today. In this moment. In this Dhamma. Right now. If nature is not ready. Nature is not ready means, what is nature then? Causes and effects. That is nature. The Dhamma is fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. That's fantastic. That's why I told you, I am blessed. Because I have the Dhamma. I don't want anything in the world if I have the Dhamma. Because this is the only cure and this is the only truth. And if I can live with the Dhamma, that's enough. Try to understand this, then you will realize it, ladies and gentlemen. That's nature. Not 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. When causes are there and effect manifests, that's nature. Others are promises, imaginations. You can imagine to be elected as the president of the country. That's in your imagination. When causes are there and effect manifest. Apart from, until that was in your imaginations. After that, also. That is in your imaginations. That's called the past. Did you get it? you have two types of imaginations. One is the future, the other one is the past. When you think about your future, you have fear and suffering. When you think about your past, you have regret. Those are in your imaginations. They are not real. When you understand that, and when you see the reality, then you will live in nature, because you will be nature. You won't have any past issues. You won't have any future issues. All those are issues, or imaginations actually, those are imaginations. Okay, let's say, and let's say that tomorrow is an election date for the presidency. Tomorrow, this point. And let's assume that you are here now. I had to draw a timeline now. Timeline. People like it very much when they talk about timelines, and we can go back to the future. Because people like to enjoy their imaginations. That's why most movies have a villain and a hero. A hero always destroys the villain. That's what people want. They want to live in an imaginary world, in an imaginary world. Look at this. It's a timeline. Let's talk about the timeline. Now, tomorrow. And this is today. And this is after that. Okay? Now, you want to be the president. Now it is in your imaginations. And you imagine that. And you have fear if someone will take it. If someone takes it, then you can't tolerate it, and those things. You have all these things, and then tomorrow becomes today. Now, when causes are there, the effect manifests. It happens. After that, now you have a future and the past. When this occurs, you have the past, which was your future before. That's your imaginations. And before this incident occurs, it was your future, and you took it from your past. Again, when this incident occurs, that means this is the reality. This occurs at what time? We can't talk about time. We only can talk about causes and effect. When causes are there and effect manifests, that is today. That is the present. That is now. For the time being, let's take the present and the now for this case. That is now. When we take now, it creates or it separates two areas. One is the past, the other one is the future. Then, before you come to this point, this presidency, that this election, this result, was in your mind, was in your imaginations. When it comes to this point, the mind experiences it. After that, again, it goes to your imaginations. In your imaginations, it lives forever. But in nature, for how long it lives, when causes are there and effect manifests. That's the only answer I can give, because I can't talk about the time. Because when I write 1 and 2, 12 years with no time. This is the reality. This is the truth. These things are your imaginations. Therefore, the past is your imaginations. The future is your imaginations. All the promises you have made, they were in your imaginations and they are in your imaginations. They will be. You promised me to practice the path. I know that. That's in your imagination. If I know that that's in your imaginations, then I don't expect for you to attain Nibbana. Because that's what's in your imaginations. When causes are there, an effect manifests. Therefore, when you promise us to give 1,000 rupees, we never take it as the reality, because it's not the reality. That was in your imaginations. And tomorrow, something will happen to you. Therefore, you couldn't give, you couldn't offer that money. In that case, we never think that you wanted to give us, you were going to give us. And because of this, you couldn't do that. Because of that, you were not able to do it. That's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Not because of that. Because of nothing. That was in your imaginations. Causes are not ready. Therefore, you can't see the result. You can't see the effect. Therefore, we can't say that you were going to give it. No, you didn't. You wanted to give it, of course. That doesn't say that. Nature is waiting for that. Nature has been waiting to take your... No. Nature hasn't been waiting for anything. Because nature is causes and effect. In your imaginations, you have been waiting for many things, and you will continue it. If you can understand the truth, you will be nature, and you won't have any expectations after that. Then you won't regret, because you know that those are in your imaginations. Will your children treat you well? Look after you well? You can create. You can create. Many imaginations. You have bad experiences. You have good experiences with them. You can create many experiences. You can take those experiences, which means from your memory. You can take, which is called Namagotta. You can take many Namagotta, your memory, and create imaginations. Remember this. That's your imagination. And tomorrow, will your son come? That's your imagination. And tomorrow morning, he would say that, Mom, I can't come today. I have a meeting. Then you would say that, oh, he was going to come. And I arranged all the things, but he didn't come, or he wouldn't come. And you are worrying because you thought that he will come. You judge. You judge nature. That's why Jesus Christ said, don't judge. Oh, you too will be judged. Don't judge. Don't judge because you can't judge. How can you judge if everything happens according to the theory of cause and effect? If nature is cause and effect, causes and effect, that thing, the theory. If nature behaves according to that, or if nature is that incident, how can you judge? In order to judge, you need some data beforehand. If you are the judge, you need some evidence and all these things, and you collect all these things. After that, you pass your judgment. Lawyers are here, you know that. Okay, now judge. Judge nature. What evidence do you have? What evidence do you have? Do you have any evidence? No. Therefore, you can't judge. But you judged according to your imaginations. That's why you said that he was going to come. And he didn't come. He didn't turn up. Therefore, you were so angry. Oh, so sad. Don't you see that you are suffering because of your own ignorance? Don't you see that the Buddha's Dhamma is the truth? Here I'm not talking about the Buddha. I'm talking about the truth. Whoever tells the truth, he can be the Buddha. You don't have to fight for that. Don't judge nature. Don't judge nature because you can't. Because nature doesn't have any past or future. It occurs when causes are there. Therefore, no one can judge. Therefore, when someone promises something, take it as an imagination. Like you think about Superman, Spider-Man. That's in your imagination. That's fine. It's fine, ladies and gentlemen. You can have imaginations, but don't trust your imagination because that's not nature. From time to time, if you want, you can think that you are the most beautiful lady in the world. That's fine. That's in your imaginations. But don't expect that to be the reality. You know, that is in your imaginations. And imaginations are not real. Then you won't expect anything. Like you wanted to be Superman. You know that. He doesn't exist. You know, you know it, eh? Okay. Because now they are very real in children's world. However, you know that Superman doesn't exist. Agree? Right. But sometimes you may think that if I were the Superman, I would protect the world, I would save the day. All these things. That's okay. That's in your imagination. Please know about it. I want you to know about it. That's in your imagination. That's not the reality. Reality comes when causes are there. Therefore, there is only one reality, but a million imaginations, possibilities. If you live in your imaginations, and if you can't understand that, then you will suffer. Expectations are created due to the reality. Reality means I would say, like when you think that your imaginations are real, then the expectation is created. But if you know that imagination is an imagination, then expectation won't be created. Therefore, whatever happened, whatever the promise you have made, remember that it is in your imagination. Don't expect anything, because you can't judge. Perhaps, when I ask, will I drop this? There are two things at least in your imaginations. Now it comes here. Will I drop it? Can you judge? No. Still it is in your imagination. Because still it is in the present. In the future. Now you can tell, after that, it goes to your imaginations again. Therefore, remember this, ladies and gentlemen. Your family is in your imagination. Your children are in your imagination. Your everything, finally, yourself is in your imagination. In the reality, the process of energy occurs. When you understand this one day, you are called an Arhat. Well, I can't say that you will be called, because it never happened, because that's in your imagination. However, let's follow this. That's what you need to do. Follow this. Try to understand and follow. Try to understand and practice. Try to understand and practice. And associate noble people. Then you will stay on the path. Otherwise, you will be rejected. If you don't have enough merits, you will be rejected. Therefore, earn more merits. Earn more merits. If you think that, or if you think to delay this, I think you don't have enough merits. That's the only good reason I have in my mind. Therefore, actually, when I think that you don't have enough merits, then I don't try. If you don't have merits. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, before Before I had I would say vexation. That means before I was vexed to preach to you and let you understand the Dhamma and let you attain Nibbana. When I realized this, then I realized that, oh, that was in my imaginations. In my imaginations, I was a good person. But according to the Buddha, I was a fool. But I was a good person by thinking that I need to give you the Dhamma, and giving you the Dhamma is okay. But if I thought that I want you to attain Nibbana, that would be foolish. According to this knowledge I'm talking about, okay? You will realize this. Therefore, now I preach to you. If you have enough merit, if all the causes are there, and effect manifests. Until that, I give you the Dhamma. Perhaps you think that, oh no, don't do that, please. Please be vexed. Huh? Are you going to say that? No. Because before, I wanted you to attain Nibbana. I wanted you to attain Nibbana because that was in my imaginations. I thought that imaginations were real. That doesn't say that you can't attain Nibbana. You can when causes are there. Therefore, all the time when someone asks when, conventionally you can tell the time at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, all these things. But if you tell the truth, what should you say? When causes are there. That's where nature exists. If someone asks, where's nature? What should you answer? Oh, in Sri Lanka, it's in Singharaja forest. Huh? Is that? Amazon? Where? Where's nature? When causes are there. The truth. Can you imagine how lucky you are? You can hear the Dhamma, ladies and gentlemen. In that case, you are lucky. Now you don't have to plead mercy from anyone. Create your own salvation. Practice your own path. And achieve your salvation. And take your victory. That is the only victory you can achieve forever. Let them fight. We can't stop that, because that's nature. Perhaps in your mind, you may stop that. Of course. You have a good heart, that's right. But remember this, that's in your imagination. Tomorrow, what will happen? Will they attack America? Will they attack Saudi? Hmm? What is that? That's in your imagination. Actually, when do they attack America? They means I don't know who, but when do they attack America? You know the answer. When causes are there. Until that, it's in your imaginations. After that, it's in your imaginations. That's why you always talk about the past and the future. Be wise, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you can be wise. You don't need a PhD for this. You need merits. You need merits. You don't need a good education. Earn merits as much as possible. Then you will be able to understand this. And again, I don't mind. Don't ever think that, oh, we don't practice the path, therefore, Guru Tero, it will hurt Guru Tero. No. Don't worry about me. It happened before, not because of you. Because of ignorance. I was able to overcome that part. I'm not saying that entire thing is over. I don't want to. I want to be nature. Therefore, I don't have any expectations to finish this game. I know it will finish. When? When causes are there. Earn merit, listen to the Dhamma, practice the path, associate noble friends, and this will happen. I'll see you next week. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all.